How did the Detroit Lions knock off the Packers at Lambeau 4 straight years? We tell you.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Folks, we made it. We are here on a Friday edition. Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Matt Derry with you. Yes, Lions and Packs Sunday at Lambeau at 4:25. It is Friday, September the 5th into Saturday, September the 6th. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you to all of you that subscribe and watch us daily on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. And oh my goodness, find us on TikTok. Find us on Instagram, Locked On Lions. We're here. Our last show before Sunday and the opener at Green Bay. Matt Derry with you. Thanks for being with us. Excited to be with you. If you missed yesterday's show with Peter Bukowski, yes, the most hated man in Detroit sports, the host of Locked On Packers. We did the crossover with Pete yesterday. Go back and watch or listen to that podcast. Shout out, by the way, to our everydayers that are out there that either listen or watch the pod daily. We met some everydayers today. I have the great honor of being invited by my longtime friend, Mike K. Cook, yes, of the Mike and Meg program, mornings on AM 800 CKLW in Windsor. I went across, where did I go? Down, South Detroit, whatever it is. Took the tunnel, and I was in Windsor this morning in studio from 8 to 9 with Mike and Meg. They're amazing. And they promoted the pod. We talked a lot of Lions. And a lot of their listeners are our listeners here on Locked On Lions. Everydayers like JC at the Windsor Assembly Plant. Winemaker Tim at Peely Island Winery in Kingsville. I love Peely Island. I love you, Tim. Mike Marcelloni, who's been with me a long time. Appreciate Mike. I met the General Melissa Schultz. Yes, programmer to the stars at AM 800. She's a huge Vikings fan. We're turning her into an everyday listener. Mike and Meg, thank you again. Meg Roberts is just the best. She is awesome. What an unbelievable co-host. The producer, Steve. I met Paul McDonald. He's an everydayer. Paul's the best newsman in North America. Dan McDonald, their midday show host. He's awesome as well. All right, we're going to be with you on Sunday afternoon following the game. First and foremost, Locked On Lions squad show will be there. All right, they will be there not going to be there live, but they're going to be there live on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast to break down said start of the season. All right. And there's so much to talk about, right? And there's so much that we're going to get to today. How are the Lions going to beat the Packers? What have they done the last 3 years that they need to do again? I got some keys to the game. We'll get to that coming up momentarily. What player there's a player on the Lions that we've barely mentioned. Like, haven't brought him up in July. Didn't bring him much in August. We're going to talk about him today because I think there's a guy in this Lions defense that's going to make a difference in this game on Sunday. I'll tell you about that guy coming up momentarily here on the podcast. I got a little bit of a reaction to opening night. We all watched the Eagles and Cowboys last night. I don't know how many of you sat through the 1 hour lightning delay, but we'll get into that. Call of the day as well. You want to be our call of the day? You can be by going to www.speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. That is speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. And again, the Locked On Lions squad show will be live after the game. I will have a Sunday pod likely coming out after theirs with Jake Riepma, of course. Bradford Banta as well. My girl, Natalie Kerwin, also will be on the show Sunday. So that is right after the game live. I will do a Sunday pod and record that. We'll make sure I get some of Dan Campbell's comments and everything else. And I'll be on Sunday. So find us. If you subscribe, you'll get us Sunday. I will have a post-game pod for you on Sunday. So a lot of content, a lot of excitement. Here we go. Detroit at Green Bay. The Packers are currently 2.5-point favorites in Vegas. We'll see where all this goes. It sounds like Micah Parsons is going to play. It sounds like Nate Hobbs is going to play. So, hey, bring on the best for Lions and Packers. As far as some of the keys to the game, how are the Lions going to beat Green Bay on Sunday? First things first, all right? How have the Lions beaten them the last 3 times? They've been physical and more physical than Green Bay. And the Lions have wrapped up and tackled the Packers. There have not been a lot of big plays at Lambeau Field going back to week 18, 2022. The Thursday night affair in 2023 and the night game last year in 2024, where the Lions beat the Packers in a rainstorm. Now, I know what my boy Peter Bukowski is going to say, and Pete and I did the crossover yesterday, and I thought Peter behaved himself. But the host of Locked On Packers was like, well, Jordan Love was on one leg last year. Oh, so he was out there. He was playing. The Lions have got to tackle on Sunday. Remember, a lot of these guys haven't played and haven't undergone live bullets in weeks. They've done joint practices with the Dolphins and the Texans. Many of them have not played a single snap in the preseason. There's going to be some rust they've got to knock off. There's going to be some cobwebs involved. Tackle. If Josh Jacobs breaks through the line and gets 5 yards, the linebackers, Anzalone, Campbell, Barnes, whomever's out there, Cunningham, tackle. Stewart, tackle. None of this whiffing stuff, missed tackles, breaking away. Jacobs goes for 30 as opposed to 5. He's a very talented running back. I don't think he's as good as our guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's good. The Lions have got to wrap up. Matthew Golden in the open field. They throw him a bubble screen. Take him to the ground. Brian Branch is one of the best open field tacklers in all of the NFL, not just on the Lions. So the Lions have got to wrap up. If I see too many missed tackles in this game, it could be a long Sunday afternoon for Detroit. That's number one. Number two, clean up the penalties. What did we see? What did we see during the preseason? The Lions, whether it was the second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, just a lot of penalties. That preseason game against Miami at Ford Field, we were there 4.5 hours, way too long. All right. I know it's the starters now playing, but an 8 penalty game, a 10 penalty game, a holding, a jumping off sides, a pass interference, illegal contact. No. Lions have got to play the cleaner game this Sunday if they want to win on the road in Green Bay again. All right. And number 3, it is very simple. Protect Jared Goff. Jared Goff, when given time, is damn good. Jared Goff with play action pass is damn good. The Lions have better running backs than the Packers. The Lions have better receivers than the Packers. The Lions have the better tight end than the Packers. Offensive line, I would say, is a wash. Probably even. Right? If Elton Jenkins doesn't play for them, that would swing it towards Detroit. The Lions have the weapons. The Lions have the better offense. The Lions have the better quarterback. Protect them, though. If we see Rashawn Gary get loose, if Micah Parsons, it turns into a pressures day for Parsons. If they can't protect Jared Goff, it's going to be a long day. They're going to run the Lions can run the ball. The Lions can do a lot of good things offensively, but they got to protect number 16. So there you have it. All right. Just some of my keys to this game coming up on Sunday. There's a player that nobody's talking about on the Lions. Nobody. All right. And we've run the gamut on hype and pregame talk and all the stuff the offseason that we've done. We finally made it. Our last show before a real game. And there's a member of this team that nobody's talking about that I think can play a big role in this game on Sunday. We will tell you who that is coming up next. It is a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. Oh, we are so excited to welcome back our friends at PrizePicks. Locked On Lions brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app. Where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right means you cash in. With football back, PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. All right. Check projections like on Josh Allen, more than or less than 270 yards passing. All right. Last night, you were looking at rushing touchdowns. If you had Javonte Williams of the Cowboys with more than 1 rushing touchdown, you were a winner. What about in this game? All right, Amon-Ra St. Brown, more than or less than what? 6 catches, 7 catches? You can put money down on that at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive. That's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. All right, Mazda offers more than safety. It's won more than 2025 IIHS Top Safety Pick Awards than anyone else. All right. That's as of August of 2025. They're great. And as an athlete focuses on every detail, Mazda does the same, from metallic accents to hand-stitched Napa leather. What about Lions leather? It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Locked On Lions, a Friday edition. If you missed Trey Wingo on Wednesday's show, Trey was great. Check out his podcast, Straight Facts Homie, talking all things NFL. And yes, yesterday he behaved himself. Peter Bukowski, didn't see a lot of hate in the YouTube comments. Sweet Pete was on yesterday for the Thursday crossover as we really dove in deep on Detroit and Green Bay. Sunday, 4:25, opening kickoff on CBS. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. Call of the day coming up a little bit later on. We're going to walk the tightrope with call of the day. We're bringing somebody back. We're bringing somebody back. That's all I will tell you for our call of the day. All right. So who's with me on this? We talked about Aiden Hutchinson, right? Hutch is coming back. He feels good. We've talked about DJ Reader having a really good camp. What about Tyleek Williams? What's the first round pick going to do in his debut? Marcus Davenport has gotten a lot of talk. What are the Lions going to do at edge rusher behind Davenport and Hutchinson? Will Tyrus Wheat play at all? And will he play well? Will Nowaski be coming in off the edge? The linebacking core. Gaines media poster boy Alex Anzalone is back. Jack Campbell is there. We've talked about the secondary. We haven't brought up at all, and he barely played last year and is a nice addition to this team if he's playing and playing well. That's Derek Barnes. I'm telling you right here, right now, the Lions defense is going to make a big play on Sunday, and Derek Barnes is going to be involved. I don't know if it's a strip sack. I don't know if it's a fumble recovery. I don't know if it's an interception out in the flat, but I've got a Derek Barnes big play on my bingo card for Sunday. In this offseason, the Lions retained him. They gave him 3 years and $24 million. He got a nice signing bonus. And they feel like he's just scratching the surface as kind of a do-everything linebacker out on the outside. Can he rush the passer once in a while? Yes. Sans the Dak Prescott play years ago. Can he stop the run? Can he cover tight ends and running backs out of the backfield? All right. Derek Barnes is going to play a nice role for this team. And I don't know why we haven't brought him up. He's a starter. We talked about the depth at linebacker. We've mentioned Cunningham and Stewart, and when's Rodrigo coming back, and all the guys that the Lions have. But Derek Barnes has kind of been the underappreciated, under-talked about player on this team that I think is going to make some plays on Sunday. I really do. And, everybody's talking about Micah Parsons. I'm not comparing Micah Parsons and Derek Barnes, right? They're different players. But I think a guy out on the edge and out in space defensively that can make some moves for this defense and elevate it even higher for Kelvin Shepard and company is Derek Barnes. So watch for him making some plays this Sunday. It's an interesting dichotomy with this defense because so many of the guys from last year got hurt. Right. And it was just a mash unit for most of the season. Yet somehow, some way, Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, everybody kept it together. But Barnes only played, a game and a half and was lost for the season. So I think he's going to be an important piece for this defense. I think he's going to be a guy that does come up with some big plays on Sunday. And I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him out there and everything else. By the way, there's a little bit of discussion. I was listening to the SV pod with Scott Van Pelt from ESPN, Stanford Steve, kind of his best friend and producer. They do a great job together on SV pod. That's a really good podcast. And Scott brought up the fact that Lions and Packers are playing in week 1. And Bears and Vikings are playing Monday night in week 1. By the way, our girl, the General Schultz, program director at AM 800, she's a big Vikings fan. We're having that discussion today in her plush office there. But Vikings and Bears play as well. Hey, show of hands out there. Who likes opening the season in the division and ending the season in the division? That's basically what the Lions are doing. Lions' first 2 games, Packers and Bears. Lions' last 2 games, Vikings and Bears. I get ending the season with week 17 in the division because some games could decide the division. That seems to be the way it always goes in the AFC South every year. It's like Colts, Jags, Titans. They're all kind of bunched in there, and they play each other at the end of the year. But for week 1 to get right into the division play, I don't know if I love that. I'm kind of on Stanford Steve's side on that because he had brought that up because he was like, look, we love the NFL and we're dying to watch anything. So even if you put bad teams against bad teams or an AFC team against an NFC team, it doesn't matter. We're going to watch it. We've been jonesing for this day, for real football to start for weeks on end, months on end. So yeah, I kind of see Steve's point about starting the year in the division and making these games so important. And look, we saw opening night. We saw last night a division game. Big win for Philadelphia. They knock off the Cowboys 24-20. What did I learn about opening night? The team last night that ran the football better won the game. Did you notice that? Philadelphia outgained Dallas on the ground like 158-119. Dallas got a couple of touchdown runs from Javonte Williams, which I'm sure Javonte Williams fantasy owners were happy about. But all in all, when the Eagles had to dig down deep in the fourth quarter, and it became a punt-a-thon in the second half, but Jalen hurts his legs, the 62 yards that he had last night, and then you throw in another 60, I believe, from Saquon. Not huge numbers, but the team that ran the ball won last night's game. So that's something we learned last night. The other thing, too, that we learned is that offenses are not going to click. I don't think we're going to see anybody put up 37 points, 40 points in week 1. They just haven't been together long enough. These offenses just did not click. First half, it seemed like they were rolling. But then as the game wore on and adjustments were made, yes, there was a 1-hour lightning delay, but I think there were 3 total points scored in the second half. Defenses got ahead of offenses in the second half yesterday, and it just seemed like there was a lot of rust, at least in that second half. Now, maybe not early, but, neither passing game was great. Let's be honest. All right. And shame on Jalen Carter for spitting on another man. I don't care if it was Dak Prescott. I don't care if it was the team trainer. You do not spit on another person. Nearly cost the Eagles because they were running right up the gut on Philadelphia after he left that game. But I don't care that Dak spit on the ground first and then they had words. You don't spit on another person at all. And there was that debate last night, man. Shouldn't every team just play indoors because 1-hour lightning delay? We were waiting. Give NBC credit, give their entire crew credit. Tirico and Collinsworth and Maria Taylor and everybody. I mean, that you had to fill 50 minutes to an hour of time while the two teams went back to the locker room and players were like eating sandwiches. But the NBC crew did a great job of filling that time. So we'll see. I'm excited for Sunday. Looking forward to it. I think the team that runs the football Sunday the best may end up just being like it was last night, where Philadelphia had a better success on the ground and won that game. And the Eagles continue to just, like Jihad Campbell, their rookie last night, he played great. He really did. Played very, very well. It's another Howie Roseman draft pick. But Adoree Jackson at corner, ouch. Philadelphia is going to need to fix that in a big way. All right, we do have a call of the day coming up next. I'll also give you my prediction. Same thing I said yesterday on the crossover show, but I'll reiterate it for those of you that missed it right here on Locked On Lions. All right, Locked On Lions are brought to you by and powered by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. All right, let's break it down. I'm going to talk for the preseason, all right, for the Lions and who delivered in a big way in the preseason. It's Isaac Tisla. He was the best player to me in the preseason that the Lions had, all right? Anytime they needed points, anytime they needed a big play, all right, they went to Tesla and no delay. He was the best, all right? His performance wasn't a fluke. Isaac Tesla is on a streak. And just like Tesla delivered for the Lions in the preseason, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day. Only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. All right, we're diving into the pool again. Here we go. It is time for Call of the Day. You can be our Call of the Day by going to speakpipe.com/Derry, DERY, podcast page. Today's voicemail was left by this calling in legend.
Hey, Matt. Hey, you wonderful everydayers. And yes, you too, Rod Wood. This is the Plymouth Gym from where you get your finer podcasts. Matt, I enjoyed Trey Wingo on the pod. He's my second favorite Trey, just ahead of Trey McBride, just behind Trey of Warm Cookies. Matt, I heard Jason Benetti do the Lions preseason game. It went like this. Pass caught by J-Mo for a gain of 13. Hey, TJ, they should call him Waymo because he's a self-driving vehicle. Thank you, Shecky. I've seen 5-year-olds with an ice cream cone with more restraint. But most importantly, this Sunday finally arrives as the Fighting Sheila Hamps take on the Green Bay Bukowskis at Curly Lambeau Stadium at Micah Parsons Field. Golf announcer Jim Nance and the formerly insightful Tony Romo will be on the call. I'm going to have the sound muted, but I might just throw it down to the sideline. Old school. Let's go to Susie. And I thank you.
All right, there he is, Plymouth Jim. He does have his own podcast, and I thank you. Excellent call of the day. He used some drops in there. For those of you that remember Jim's calls on the old WDFN, that was epic. We had a lot of decent submissions for call of the day, but I had to play a little Plymouth Jim. Yes, golf announcer Jim Nance. That's true. Tony Romo, I thought after his first year he was good. But then the CBS redid his contract, gave him a ton of money, and I just don't think he's been as good calling these games. I watched last night with Tirico and Collinsworth. I thought they were fantastic. I really did. I thought doesn't get much better than Mike on play-by-play. He's really, really good, and I think he and Collinsworth have excellent chemistry. I really think so. And Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, jury is still out on all of that. And I hope that Al Michaels this year is better on those Thursday night games, because last year was kind of a tough listen to say the least. But Lions Packers coming up. One other note, Don Muhlbach. Yes, that Don Muhlbach, Lions long snapping legend, is going to be up in the booth this year, helping Dan Campbell with replay reviews and a lot of other things. Dykema, and I forgot it, John Dykema, who worked for the Lions for years, left for Michigan State, then left for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was kind of Dan Campbell's eyes and ears upstairs last few years in the headset. That role will now belong to Don Muhlbach. So the Mule back making an impression for the Lions. All right, as far as what I think is going to happen in this game, I think it's going to be a very close game. Micah Parsons said the other day he doesn't like Detroit. He's always not liked Detroit. He said Dallas-Detroit was a rivalry when he played on the Cowboys, and now he's really looking forward to playing them in division. I don't like Detroit, he said. And he thought they had too many gimmick plays the last few years. Bulletin board material, I don't know. But the Packers are the ones doing the talking. And I think, as Pete said yesterday, I think the pressure's on Green Bay. Are the Packers going into this season, the favorites in the NFC North, feeling like they're finally going to knock off the big bad Lions who won the division 2 years in a row? Imagine if in week 1, Green Bay lays an egg and loses again at home at the vaunted Lambeau Field where they haven't lost a home opener since 2012 and they lose to the Lions again. I think that'd be devastating. People that say, is this a must win for the Lions? It's a must win for the Lions. I think this game means more to Green Bay. I think the pressure's on them. And I think the Lions having less pressure. I think the Lions being underdogs. I think all eyes on number 1, the green uniform in Micah Parsons. I think allows the Lions to sneak into Green Bay. And on the leg of Jake Bates, the man that ended the kicker list, I think Detroit wins a close game and wins like 21-20. There you have it. We are done for the week. If you missed any of the shows this week, go back and check it out. Follow us, like us on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just look up Locked On Lions wherever you need us. We're there for you. So we'll be back with you again. I will do a post-game pod on Sunday. I'll record a quick video for YouTube. Just a quick reel for YouTube, and then like a 1-minute thing. And then we'll do an entire show Sunday evening. So for your drive to work Monday morning or whatever, you've got fresh material. All right. Thanks everybody for a great week. Thanks for making us your first listen. Go Lions, baby. Let's go.